Hello there. Thank you so much for joining us. This is News Channel Nebraska. My name's Eric McKay. Let's take a look at our top headlines today. As Wednesday's blizzard moved from west to east, road closures quickly followed. I-80 was shut down in Kearney, and officials closed several highways to the east. But as weather conditions improved throughout the day, the interstate closure kept creeping further to the west. Eventually, officials closed the eastbound lanes of I-80 from the Wyoming border all the way to Lincoln, but it wasn't because of snow. Most areas west of North Platte, in fact, were completely dry. Sydney Police Chief Sam Lovato explains.
Basically, we monitor our occupancy for the city. So as the city gets full, we want to make sure we have the accommodations, the resources for everybody coming in, that we have enough places for them to stay warm, medical, hotel rooms, food, restaurants. All this stuff plays a factor in it. We don't want anybody to get stranded without any resources at all.
Interstate closures can rapidly overwhelm services in small towns. As hotels, truck stops, and parking lots fill up, local emergency managers report to the Department of Transportation and the interstate closures extended, even if driving conditions are normal. I-80 has since reopened. You can watch our full interview with Lovato on the Panhandle region of our website, newschannelnebraska.com. Meanwhile, thousands of southeast Nebraskans still without power after Wednesday's blizzard. Norris Public Power District said in a statement mid-morning Thursday that over 11,000 customers were without power as of 8:15 a.m. Norris PPD says line workers were able to get out overnight and located more downed power lines. About 250 power poles have been reported broken. The utility says they're getting help from other districts, but estimates some customers might be without power for multiple days. It's not just Norris customers. Omaha Public Power District reported 34,000 people still without power as of mid-morning, including over 7,000 in Saunders County alone.
When the next severe weather event happens, don't get caught in the dark. Power your kitchen, HVAC, and communication systems with a Jackery solar-capable generator. Just click on our YouTube affiliate shopping tab and you're on your way. And Husker fans, the Explorer series is perfect for tailgating.
The high winds to blame for a crash that shut down a northeast Nebraska highway early Wednesday. It happened before sunrise along Highway 275 between Norfolk and Pilger. The Stanton County Sheriff's Office says a westbound semi had its trailer blown across the road where it was struck head-on by an eastbound semi. The trailer was split apart and overturned, blocked the highway. A UPS semi then jackknifed behind the wreckage. Remarkably, no one was injured. The sheriff's office had the highway reopened after about 2 hours, but advised for most of the day against travel because of the conditions. In other news, a southeast Nebraska man accused of killing his ex-fiancée a day after bonding out of jail has been found competent to stand trial. That determination handed down to 54-year-old Casey Kint in Seward County District Court Wednesday. Authorities say Kint shot and killed 36-year-old Jamie Hagan back in February before turning the gun on himself, but he survived the suicide attempt. He's being held without bond ahead of his next court appearance on April 2nd in Seward. 2 businesses damaged after a central Nebraska fire Wednesday night. It happened on West 2nd Street in Grand Island. Grand Island fire officials say they believe the blaze was electrical in nature. The fire started in the Star Nail Salon, which sustained the heaviest damage, while the neighboring Paradise Donuts suffered smoke and water damage. No one was injured. In national news, the president keeping a controversial campaign promise. Officials say he's set to formally order Education Secretary Linda McMahon to start dismantling her department. And as Amy Kiley reports, public school advocates say they're worried about the impact to students.
I'd like it to be closed immediately.
Officials say President Donald Trump plans to sign an executive order today to begin tearing apart the Department of Education. Whether to shutter it completely is up to Congress. An administration official says the order will start the process of shifting education authority to the states.
Since the Department of Education was established in 1980, we've spent over $1 trillion to see our scores continue to go down.
Trump says the DOE is a sign of federal overreach, but it's unclear how many states want to take on its responsibilities.
The State Department of Education has had funding cut after funding cut after funding cut.
Oftentimes what's concocted in Washington, D.C. when it goes out to Montana doesn't exactly fit.
A senior administration official says funding for students with disabilities and low-income schools won't change. Those programs account for much, but not all, of the support K-12 schools get from the federal government.
Educational opportunity is not government waste. It's something that is very central to what makes America great.
The National Education Association president says dismantling the DOE aims a wrecking ball at the futures of 50 million students. Legal challenges are already in the works. The executive order follows the department's earlier announcement that it's cutting about half its staff.
It only hurts the most vulnerable, our children.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
Well, late last year, it seemed like the Federal Reserve had pulled off the unlikely, tamping down the highest inflation in 4 decades without triggering a recession. Now, there are new economic concerns. Karen Kafa explains the Fed's latest decision on interest rates.
The Federal Reserve staying cautious and holding interest rates steady amid growing economic uncertainty.
Labor market conditions are solid, and inflation has moved closer to our 2% longer-run goal, though it remains somewhat elevated. In support of our goals, today the Federal Open Market Committee decided to leave our policy interest rate unchanged.
The Fed stopped cutting interest rates back in January as signs pointed to inflation's descent stalling out and overall growth slowing, a troublesome combination. Complicating matters now, President Donald Trump's economic agenda, including the slashing of the federal workforce, shaking what's been a stable labor market, and his overhaul of trade policy, rattling consumers, businesses, and markets.
Confidence is very fragile. You can see it in the consumer sentiment surveys. You can see it among business people. Investments they plan to make, they're all pulling back.
Among the administration's moves to ramp up pressure on America's biggest trading partners, a slate of tariffs, some already implemented and some looming on imported goods from key U.S. trade partners Canada, Mexico, and China. Economists warn the policies could push inflation higher and sink consumer spending, putting the economy at risk.
Recession is a loss of faith. We lose faith that we're going to be able to hold on to our job and businesses are going to be able to sell what they produce.
And force the Fed to course correct once again. In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
Car thefts in the U.S. down 17% last year. That was the largest decline in 4 decades. The National Insurance Crime Bureau says close to 851,000 cars were stolen nationwide last year. That's a significant drop from the previous year, which recorded more than 1 million thefts, and it turns around a 4-year trend of rising numbers. NICB officials say the decrease is thanks to the hard work of law enforcement, auto theft task forces, and car makers. The areas that saw the most car thefts: Washington, D.C., California, and New Mexico. The most commonly stolen vehicles: the Hyundai Elantra and Sonata, and the Chevy Silverado 1500. A College Board of Governors back to full strength after 2 vacancies were recently filled. Officials with Western Nebraska Community College announced the additions of Joshua Hansen and Tony Kaufman to their board on Wednesday. Hansen works for Adams Industries in Sydney, spent 8 years with the Department of Labor. Kaufman, the community president at Platte Valley Bank and mayor of Gearing from 2014 to 2022. The two replaced 2 former board members who retired in January. A new playground now open in northeast Nebraska, offering children of all abilities the opportunity to play together. The Coleridge Area Fund, with the help of local volunteers and grants, spearheaded the project, which began back in 2021. The group had originally planned for a typical playground, but say they soon realized securing funding for a standard design would be challenging. They pivoted then to an ADA-compliant playground, ensuring it would be accessible for children with disabilities. One volunteer said the project held special importance to her.
This is very near and dear to my heart because I had a child with a disability, and I knew what it was like for those kids to sit there and watch the other kids play and not be able to participate. So our playground is filled with all kinds of activities that lots of kids would be able to do together.
The $400,000 project features a soft, wheelchair-friendly surface and various play structures, including a zero-entry merry-go-round. About half the funding was raised locally. The remainder came from grants. The playground, not only for children, but also designed to be accessible for older adults with joint or mobility issues. And the city of Fairbury has a new downtown band shell, and there are early plans to officially debut the new structure later this year. Tim Hackett has more.
Fairbury Mayor Kelly Davis announced at the City Council meeting Tuesday night the city is in the planning stages for an event to formally break in the city's new band shell later this year.
There's a band, and Toolies would like to be involved, and we'd like to have a kind of a grand opening type thing for the new band shelter downtown. They want to make a day event of it, family event, have dunk tanks and bounce house and just all kinds of different things for kids and a couple bands.
Part of the event would be designed as a fundraiser, with proceeds from an event supporting adult musicians going back to support local youth who play instruments.
Whatever they do to raise any kind of money, they want to donate that to the high school band to help buy instruments for families that can't afford to buy their kids an instrument or maybe rent them ones.
Mayor Davis said this event is very much still in the planning stages, but they have set a tentative initial date of August 2nd. In Fairbury, Tim Hackett, News Channel Nebraska.
And you can stay up to date with the very latest by following us online. Head to newschannelnebraska.com and click on the News tab there. You can also follow us on X, like us on Facebook and Instagram as well. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day. You're watching News Channel Nebraska.